look,
party. Hey.
everybody knows what it is, man. Yeah. Episode 200. Episode
Episode
200, man.
200. So we're presently simulcasting on the Half Hope Football Hut and the
Talking
Talking
Tactics.
Tactics Twitter account. Okay, so if you're on the Half Hope Football Hut and you don't know that Half Hope does a weekly football podcast, he does. It's called Talking Tactics.
I do it with this dude there.
We've been doing it for at least 200 weeks now, because there was like 12 episodes of quarantine that could have been episode whatever the numbers were, but officially we're at 200 episodes. Shout out to everybody that's ever listened, that subscribed, that rocks with us. We really appreciate it. This is just for people on YouTube. I think we started broadcasting on YouTube this year, like maybe January sometime. So
it was this year.
If you subscribed, we appreciate it. If you hit the like button, we appreciate it. So
I think we did it. We've only done it regularly, like maybe in the last few weeks or so. I think, on like a regular basis.
No, broadcasting on the Talking Tactics Twitter page.
No, YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube was January.
Oh, okay.
It was like a New Year. I don't know, initiative, I suppose. But yeah, if you don't know, we make a podcast that drops every Tuesday, but people on YouTube have access to it. So we're going to make a podcast. So
yes, and also we're available where Spotify, Apple, not on X videos. What's the name of that thing? SoundCloud. Merry Christmas to you as well. All that beautiful stuff, man.
I don't have festive cups, man. There's just Christmas stuff around here.
Look, I'm here with my...
Be merry.
These are the best peanuts of all time, by the way.
And this is water. This is not vodka. This is not whatever. I don't drink. I only know vodka looks clear.
Okay, why aren't you an alcoholic?
I'm already kind of chubby, man. So I'm not going to add smoking or liquor on top of health problems that are occurring. So, let's just knock out as many middlemen as we can, If I was in better physical shape, I'd drink probably, but just you can only have so many vices.
Hit the gym, man. Hit the gym.
It's COVID. All the gyms are closed. But sometimes I walk around the neighborhood, or Okay,
look, let me ask you this. So why? So because let's just expose everything right now. So you didn't want this thing to be a big deal because you felt that 200 episodes wasn't a big deal, but you were pressured into making it a big deal when you put out a poll and people said, "F you, you grumpy piece of crap." 200 episodes is something to be celebratory about. So, like
I told you off air, Gareth Barry doesn't deserve praise just because he has a bunch of appearances in the Premier League. For me, there needs to be something on top of it. So I'm more happy that people listen rather than like the number that we get to. So the listenership makes me proud, not the number of episodes we've done, if that makes sense. No, but I guess, and I do take your point that there's something to be proud of just like the consistency of it all. But I expected to be consistent. I never expected people to take it that seriously or like listen or become a fan, but I did expect to be consistent. So that's kind of where I come, that the numbers of podcasts aren't a big deal. The people that listen and the people that listen every week and that support us on Patreon and all that kind of stuff, the kind of community is what I'm proud of. Not
I think for me, I think maybe it's more significant for me because I'm not. I think because I don't like people, so me having to do something consistently with someone else. I told you most things always end up badly. Like I tried to do a comic book, ended up badly. I tried to do a film, ended badly. Tried to hope it's banter, ended like that. So everything I've tried to do with other people has always ended. So I was like, bro, this ain't gonna last. So this being 200 episodes, and I was doing this since 2016, shows a level of consistency that, hey man, it's all right.
But I mean, you have to give yourself credit that you've been doing a YouTube channel, which just hit 20,000 subscribers, by the way. So round of applause.
But it's not consistent though.
That's 10 years.
It's not. It's not like I've been doing a show every single Sunday. Like, okay, this is every single Sunday. Boom. Like I told you, I was in court for the early part of the day.
The Sunday hangouts have been going on generally consistently since like 2013, 2014. Maybe 2015.
Yeah, you see, In and sort of, but there have been a few days when I've
That's
been
how
like,
we clicked up. That's how we met. Because you just opened up the platform to any and everybody to come through. It's gone through different iterations. Like the group that was there now isn't the one that was there in the past. But you've been the consistent member. So I wouldn't put yourself down and say I wouldn't be consistent.
Oh.
You just didn't expect this to last this long. Which,
no. I didn't, man.
Maybe I didn't either, but
So yeah, give yourself more credit, Daniel. Give yourself more credit.
Thank you, Seth. Thank you. All right. You guys ready to record a podcast? Leave your half hope is at the controls. So if you put a comment on the side, I don't know which are you looking at the half hope or the
both of them comment
at the same time.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
So if you have a cool comment,
it's StreamYard, man. It's StreamYard.
Shout out StreamYard. Leave a comment in the side and half hope will click it. I'm going full screen. So I'm not distracted.
Yeah, no, it's very easy to get distracted.
Yes. So, all right, let's start this podcast. Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is the Talking Tactics podcast. My name's Daniel.
It's your boy Double-H, half without hope, trying to stay alive.
We record the podcast every Monday, but it comes out to you every Tuesday. Remember to follow us on Twitter at Talking Tactics, Facebook Talking Tactics. You can follow us on SoundCloud
MySpace.
At Talking Tactics, not MySpace. If you're listening on Spotify, remember to give us a follow. If you're on Apple Podcasts, subscribe. It's free. Leave us a 5-star review, and we will read it on the show. If you want to help the podcast out monetarily, we have a Patreon page where you can subscribe $3 a month. You get access to the whole back catalog and whatever we create moving forward. So we appreciate everybody that's ever donated, that's looked, that's taken the time to consider whether or not Half Hope tells you to steal money. I say if you can afford it, check it out.
Steal money.
And we'll be super appreciative. So let's start this week's podcast. Bad news to start with this week, Half Hope. Virgil van Dijk was tackled offside by Jordan Pickford. More like assaulted than tackled, I'd say. Mm-hmm. It didn't look good, but I was just kind of hoping he hyperextended his knee and he didn't do anything serious. But it turned out that it was serious, and I think he had to have surgery within the past few days. And yeah, it seems like he's going to be out for a period of months.
17 months.
This is something that I think people have always kind of hypothesized about, that Liverpool looks strong, but what happens when they get injuries? And people always assume, hey, if Salah goes down, what happens? If Mane goes down, what happens? If Alisson goes down, what happens? But the big one is, okay, what if Van Dijk gets injured? I don't think anybody's thinking ACL injury, but maybe they're thinking like a hamstring injury for 2-3 months. This looks like it could be the majority of the season. And the way that the games are coming thick and fast, even if it is a 6, 7, 8 month injury, that's going to be a large percentage of the season, considering how they're cramming everything.
They're saying 7 to 8 months. That's what they're saying. Some people say this, but whatever it is, it's going to be for the majority of the season. So he's pretty much out for the season.
So just to start with, I think the silver lining here, at least for Van Dijk, not for Liverpool, not for anybody else, but for him, if you're going to get a season-ending injury, get it in October because there's a Euros next year. So get the injury now so you can play. Like Memphis Depay is the luckiest person on the planet. He's like one of those that he was going to miss the Euro 2020.
Leroy Sané.
Yep. The season got extended. The Euros got postponed. And now they can play in 2021. So Van Dijk was right there. So if he gets it in December, maybe he's not back by July. So it's going to be close, but I think he'll be around for Netherlands. So that's the silver lining for him. But if I ask you just about Liverpool, what do you think this does, considering Matip's also injured, and I think they only have one fit center back senior at the club. Yeah. And they sold Lovren to somewhere in Russia, I think. Spartak or St. Petersburg, somewhere. So that if Gomez is your only center back, maybe, okay, Fabinho can fill in. So you only have 2 senior players that can play center back for 8 months. Maybe they're lucky that the December window's close, or the winter window's close, rather. But yeah, what do you think, man?
I mean, it's not good. But this is where let's sort of divulge this, because I want to compare the 2 competitions, Champions League and the league. Mm-hmm. The league is about squad, because the league is about consistency. And I think what they always say is that attacks win sort of like, trophies, cups, and everything. Defenses win leagues. And I think that it is very difficult for me to give you an argument for Liverpool to win the league without Van Dijk, because you need that defensive stability, something that Lampard doesn't know anything about. You need that defensive consistency in there in order for you to give you a good chance of winning the league. And people say, oh, what about Man City with the 100 points and 98 points? The attack was just so good and so amazing. And also, they kept the ball for so long, which is sort of the trick of the Pep philosophy, is that our defenders are not that great, but what we do is that we keep hold of the possession and we just press you really high, which means that we don't have that much defending to actually do. So, but for most teams, you need a good, solid defense. So they're going to win a whole bunch of games, and I still think that they will definitely make top 4, and they'll most likely make top 2, top 3. But to win the league, I just think that there are just going to be some games in the way, like, man, if Van Dijk was there, man, if Van Dijk was there, man, if Van Dijk was there, and this is going to motivate teams to approach Liverpool differently. And now, what I'm now looking at is Klopp. How are you going to restructure the team? Because what I applauded Klopp for doing was how they won the league last season. He became much more pragmatic. People say, oh no, these guys, they're so boring, they're not really exciting. But Klopp was like, now look, I have to, again, in contrast to Pep, I've got to change the way that we approach things because I think I saw the mistakes of my ways, which is why we were unable to win the league last season. So for now, against Van Dijk, is the high line advisable? Do you need to maybe be a bit more balanced, because you have goal scorers, you have great attacking players, so you have guys individually who are going to score out of nothing. Do you need to be so attacking? Do you need to press so high? So how Klopp restructures the team and changes the approach will be different. But my thing about it is that they can still win the Champions League because it's a different kind of competition, because they still have the key players that can make you go ahead and win something like a Champions League. Now, it's still going to be tough, because if you come up against a PSG or a Bayern Munich, not having Van Dijk's reading of the game and everything can make you come undone in one of those legs and so forth. But my thing about it is Liverpool, how are you going to react? Because what I'm seeing right now is, oh my gosh, we're screwed, we're done, season is over, blah, 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 blah. Oh, this could just be okay, you know what? We're going to react. We're going to react. We're going to use this as a way to maybe make us a lot stronger. So this is a test of character, because look, it was never going to be plain sailing. Like, again, City, they had Laporte injured and they had to make do with that. Okay, now you have this guy injured. What are you going to do? Because that is what management is about with regards to Klopp, and that is what character is about. How do you handle adversity? Do you choke and bend over and just cower like a pussycat, or do you be like, you know what? I'm going to rise. I'm going to rise to the challenge.
I have a question. What positional group do you think is the most important for Liverpool in the past 3-4 seasons? Center backs, fullbacks, midfield, forwards.
In terms of what?
Just overall. And I'm. This is a question in search of a particular response. But I was wondering, what do you think? Because I'm sure some people would say the forwards. I'm sure some people might say midfield with Henderson and Wijnaldum and all those guys. But what do you think?
What made Liverpool win the league last season was the defense.
So we're on the same page. So I would even break it down even further and say their fullbacks. What Liverpool do with their fullbacks in terms of Robertson and Trent Alexander-Arnold, like the way that they can get forward. A lot of that is contingent on knowing that we have arguably the best center back in world football back there to clean up any mistakes, that he knows what's going to happen before we do it. So Robertson can rampage down that side. Trent can rampage down the other side. But we know we have a guy back there who's going to cover it up. I don't know if you can say that. You can't say that about Gomez. You can't say that about Fabinho, not in the same way. So I think your point that Klopp has to change, I think that's a sage point, that he can't allow his defenders, or more specifically his fullbacks, to play the same way, because the cover is not back there. And then we have to ask the question, how good are those defenders in terms of Trent Alexander-Arnold? He wasn't a fullback. He was a midfielder who has been placed at fullback, and he's been offensively brilliant in that position. But there are some defensive frailties with his game. If Klopp is then asking his team, or his defenders more specifically, I think we need to protect a little bit more. I don't know how that's going to look. And then you add the whole Adrian Allison thing. I don't know how long Allison's going to be out, but there's two big weaknesses there. And if Klopp doesn't adjust, I don't know if it's going to be enough to make up. Well, and maybe this is a better question to ask. Do you think that's enough to make up 18 points? Like Van Dijk gone, will a team make up 18 points? I feel like that's a lot. I don't know if Van Dijk, you really think Van Dijk is worth 18 points in a league season?
Potentially.
I think he might be worth like 4 wins that you wouldn't get. So like 12 points. 18 is a lot.
Because
18 is a lot of points.
A lot of those games last season, you were like, yeah, man, Liverpool, this is where they lose. And they just managed just to sort of defend, hold on to the lead.
Because there were a lot of like 1-0 wins or 2-1s, 3-2s, like games where Mane got the goal. But that's interesting because a lot of times when a game is 1-0, you give credit to the player that scored. So let's say Liverpool win a game last season, Mane scores in the 77th minute or something like that. Mane gets the credit. But there are instances in that game where the goalkeeper has to come up big to keep the clean sheet, or a defender has to read the game to make the tackle to keep the clean sheet that then allows Mane to win the game.
Also, I remember when I used to watch Bundesliga in Nigeria, like they used to say, "Oh man, no, Oliver Kahn." We see the commentators used to say that Oliver Kahn would win games for Bayern. I was like, wait, how can a goalkeeper win a game for a team?
Because every save that he makes is like scoring a goal.
No. This is younger me. I'm saying this is younger me. So I was like, he's a freaking
baby hope.
Yeah, this is baby hope.
BHH.
Yeah, BH. This was the BH. I was like, wait, the guy's a keeper. But then you now learn that if it's 1-0, he's making key saves. And those key saves literally help them to hold on to that 1-0 lead. So he contributes to pretty much helping them to win the game. Yeah. Question for you, since this is talking tactics. If you're Klopp, what do you do? How do you... Two things. What do you do? What do you think he does? So do you think that he says, all right, Trent Robertson, still go up, but be mindful of how much you go up. We're going to be a lot more balanced, and we're going to now really be a lot more careful in how we try to attack. And we're now going to rely upon the individual ability of a Mane and a Salah. So basically, he's going to evoke his inner Conte, of let's just try and focus on what our individuals do. Or he will be like, you know what? I trust my team. I trust our defenses. We cannot sacrifice what we've been doing for the past 3 years. Let's keep going. I still believe we'll be able to offset the counterattacks, because if you're any team now, you're like, guys, let's attack these dudes and let's get that ball over the top.
So two things came to my mind. The first thing I thought was just play with a double pivot. So they've been playing 4-3-3 generally. Play with 2 holding midfielders and try to kind of consolidate that a bit, as well as the instructions of making sure that the fullbacks aren't as attacking. The second thing that came to mind, which I think might be the more Liverpool appropriate solution, ultra possession. You even have a player like Thiago who plays in midfield now that I think you can run a game through him. You can. So maybe it's, instead of having 50% possession, you try to get into the 70s if you can. Just hold on to the ball as much as you can and just try to break teams down more methodically, rather than, maybe just over the top balls to Salah or Mane or whatnot. So I think you could go both ways. You could try to consolidate in midfield and with the fullbacks, or you just go more possession football just to protect your defenders in that sense.
You see, and I think that's a key point. But you know what? And also a key issue. This is where the whole Firmino thing comes into it, where this is one of those times where you really need Firmino to be Firmino and really play his role well. And he's not played well for ages. Because what you now do is, like, if you now say, okay, let's just be a bit more restrictive and mindful with how we attack. We now
need a striker who scores. You need a focal point.
Not forget about scoring. Mane and Salah, they're going to G up, but Mane and Salah get a lot of the opportunities through what Firmino does. So we want you, Firmino, to, as much as you not have to now score more goals, but actually do what you are supposed to be good at, which is coming deep and making those intelligence passes to Mane and Salah, because we may not get as much cheddar from Trent and Robertson, because I want them to be able to worry about their defending in case of the transition. So
it's a domino effect. In other words, that he's a big piece to fall, and then other things have to kind of fall in line in order for them to keep consistent. So we'll see. Another big thing that happened in that game. So they still could have won the game, or it was a draw. Thiago passes to Mane, and apparently Mane is, I don't know what was offside on Mane, but that's what they called. And this is what I've been trying to tell people the whole time, is when you give, how would I put this? When you give, see, I would put referees in a category of policemen, hall monitors, like, you know, when the substitute teacher or your teacher leaves the classroom and she's like, okay, I need one student who's going to take names. And this student raises his hand, pick me, and the teacher calls on him, and he goes up to the board, and he just stands there. I remember that girl
so well in Nigeria, man. But there's this one girl who, she took names. She even brought the teacher a cane. Because some of you guys may not know, she literally brought a cane to school, and she was the one who took names by anybody who made noise.
Like those people, those types of people grow up to be lawyers, policemen, and I think referees. The person who just wants to be in charge, right? And these people have no care for the spirit of the law. They go by the letter of the law. So if the law says you have a bum hair that's offside, because that bum hair in theory could score a goal, you're offside. People who, like myself, who believe in the spirit of the law, would say that what we're looking at on screen, if you're on YouTube, if you're not on YouTube, the idea that I think Godfrey, Mina, and Mane are in a line, that means level. And level is onside. I don't care if his elbow's offside or his shoulder's offside or whatever it is. The spirit of the law, not even the spirit of the law, but like for years and years, it's been level is onside. For me, they're level. He has no competitive advantage. His full body's not offside. It's not like he's turning to goal or anything, but that's besides the point. Level is onside. It's a goal. Like, and I'm not one to cape for Liverpool, like God forbid. But even when that happened, you know how it was this bad that my timeline's full of Chelsea fans. We'll get to Chelsea and some news. But people who otherwise would love Liverpool to have bad times, Manchester United fans who love whenever hard times beset Liverpool, they love it. Like that's their jam. That's their thing. Even Everton fans, I would say. Like, there was kind of a general consensus that this is just terrible. Like, I don't understand. I don't even see it. Like, we don't understand how this is. So if Liverpool are gaining sympathy or garnering sympathy from the wider public, you know something's wrong, because that doesn't happen. People love reveling in their misery. So it's just an example of how it's just off-putting. It just leaves a bad taste in your mouth. And obviously, we don't want Liverpool to win a game unless you're a Liverpool fan. But that goal is a good goal.
No. Basically, Daniel, it's like, what was the point of offside? Stop goal hanging, to not give the attacker an unrealistic advantage when they're moving forward. That was the whole point of it. If you're looking at this right now, the question you must ask is, what advantage does Mane have in this situation? He does not have an attacking advantage in this situation. Now, I get it, I understand. Whenever we make rules, there has to be a cutoff point. Because you can't be like, well, but my thing is very simple. If you show this image to the referee, a man who is the referee in the game, because it's a perfect point that Red Devil Studio made, is that if just show this image to the referee, who should be refereeing the game, if he sees this image, it's onside. Forget about bringing in the computer VAR. Just let the referee see this image to judge whether it's onside or offside, and then boom. But once you now say bird's eye view, you go in deep. Let's see whether his pubic hair is onside or offside. Then, like, what are we doing here, man? What are we doing?
Do you know another thing? And this is maybe the thing that pisses me off the most. There's no way to tell if this still image is the correct image. Meaning, when Thiago plays the ball, we don't know when the ball leaves the foot, when it exactly hits, when it leaves, the gap in between. And that gap in between, the margin of error, in other words, of when the ball is being played and when the ball leaves the player's foot. If we're going to the millimeter on Mina, Godfrey, and Mane, that measure or margin of when the ball is played becomes a big deal. Because it's nanometers at this point. And once we reach that, I have a big issue with the fact that I don't think those lines that delineate where my shoulder is, where your backside is, all of these things, I don't think they're wide enough. I don't think it takes into account the margin of error of when the ball is being played. So the VAR official I guess he's looking for when Thiago plays the ball. But that could be any moment in that kind of motion where the ball's, if this is the ball, where the ball is hit and then when the ball starts to move.
Yeah.
Because the ball always kind of looks bigger, like kind of I don't know, you can tell it's moving essentially when they make those still shots. So that's another big issue I have, that this is all an incomplete science. Like there's no definitive answer, because when we judge things to the nanometer, you have to be accurate of when the ball is being played. And I think they just press pause the closest time they can. But if it was another, I don't know, 0.2 of a second, who's to say Mina doesn't just move that little bit and now Mane's offside or onside?
Yeah.
It's just those little things that I don't think the technology is perfectly suited yet to telling us these things. But again, we're giving the power to hall monitors and people who take names and policemen and prosecutors and just I don't know, just like the
but you see, that's the issue.
The power hungry assholes of the world that just like to But
let me ask you. See, and this is the thing that just pisses me off. It's the same thing with the whole handball rule. This is football. Why are nerds and hall monitors making rules about football? Doesn't it make sense that these rules should be made by people who play the game? So, this is what it feels. Okay, this is what I think, based on me playing the game and how fast the game is moving, this would be realistic for a handball. This would be realistic for a handball. Based on how I've played the game for many years, I think this should really be offside. This should really be offside based on this.
I think you gave a good solution, man. If you bring that image back on the screen, and I guess people who are listening, you guys can imagine the image. I guess you've seen it on social media, whatever the case. If you take away those lines, like that, the darker part of the grass and the yellow line, and the little thing that's coming out of the sky, and you just show that to somebody, and you ask them, is there an offside violation here? They'd say no. They would say it looks level at least. And then that should be it. The fact that you have to bring in geometry and Archimedes and...
What are we doing here?
Just like all of these different scientists, Imhotep from ancient Egypt and Isaac Newton, and we're just trying to figure out, like, is he 2.7 nanometers? Like, it's too much. Like, if it's that little, it's level is onside, we move on.
No, because you see, it's things like this that now make me say, you know what, was it so bad without VAR? I get it. We're not able to see things that we can't see, because that's whole England. Look, it's like the whole England-Germany World Cup thing. Like when Frank Lampard scored, if VAR was there, it would have been 2-2, all that kind of stuff. But my thing is that when you see crap like that, and when you see the dumb things of the handball balls that were given back in the day, eye tests. It was just the eye test of like, okay, offside ball, and then he just kept it moving. Nothing was stopped.
Have hope. This is the thing.
Lines.
These people want technology to be in the game because obviously mistakes have been made in the past. And one of the rules, see, there's a bunch of subjective things in the game, right? Like, is that a foul? Is that a red card? Did he have intent? Did he have malice? I guess handball's a perfect example of this, where they've tried to make it objective when there is subjectivity to the handball rule. Offside, in theory, is an objective thing. You are either onside or you are offside. And because offside is something that can be objective, they go super hard with it to make the technology seem worth it. If we're going to pause the game for 30 seconds, we need to have the result. And this rule in particular is one that is black and white if you choose to make it so.
Yeah.
Because actually, Mane probably was offside by, I don't know, like a
pubic hair.
A peck of flesh on his...
A pubic hair.
I think a peck is actually a lot. But like a twinge of flesh on his shoulder blade or whatever it was. Like objectively, he was offside. But again, it's a letter of the law versus spirit of the law. And the spirit of the law, he's level, he's onside.
Yeah.
But they need VAR to work so drastically or so much that the objective things, they go so hard. And that creates the situation that we saw on Saturday or Sunday, whichever day it was.
Saturday.
All right.
Saturday.
Time to take our L.
What's this? Oh, Lord.
Time to take our L. So, Spurs were up. Okay. Yes. Okay. We're complicated Chelsea fans. We will get there in a second. Okay. But
this is not an L, by the way.
It was an L. It was an L for me anyway. This podcast appreciates Mourinho. Everybody knows that. Spurs go up 3-0. And for me, it was just like, hey, yo, y'all, don't let this man win the league. Don't let him do it. Because the coin that I will give you, you don't want it. So don't let him win the league. So I was telling people, you better pray to God, Jehovah, Allah, Buddha, Krishna, Vishnu, whoever you pray to. If you don't believe in God, write a letter to Santa Claus. Don't let this man win the league. Please don't let it happen.
Oh, no, I would go ham.
I tweet that. I send that publicly.
Wins the league with these scraps, I will be unbearable. I thought it'll never happen.
That's what I'm saying. That's all I said. I said, don't let it happen. Pray to whoever you pray to. Then these guys start letting in set pieces. It's 3-1. I'm like, oh boy, like this isn't good. Because you knew once Spurs let in the first goal, the possibility with 8 minutes left, we've seen crazier things than 2 goals in whatever it is, 10 minutes plus stoppage time. They get 3-2. You're like, geez. Then Sissoko fouls in the box, the same place where the first goal came from. You're like, don't let this happen. Crespo puts the ball in. You're like, it's cleared. Whoo! 3-2. This guy Lanzini just comes out of nowhere, just pow! Like it's just like, oh. Madness, and then you see Lloris and he dives. I'm like, did he save it? Is that behind the net? It's in the goal.
Over. I thought it was over.
Incredible strike. Shout out to Lanzini. That's one of the best goals of the season for sure.
Goal of the season.
Puskas Award. It'll be in the Puskas Awards finalists considering the time and situation and all of that. And then I go on Twitter. I'm trying to enjoy my Sunday. I have my drink. I have my, I'm eating some butterscotch candy or whatever it is. I'm just trying to enjoy. And then notification. You said it was going to happen. You said this, you said that, you said this, you said that. Okay, guys, I will take my L. Fine. I will take my L. But just be clear. I didn't say that they were going to win the game. I said you better pray they don't win the league. And it seems as if people did pray. They got on their knees, God heard them, and he gave West Ham 3 goals. So, if you believe in higher powers, there's some more evidence. Miracles do happen. Benny Hinn,
No, but
it happens.
I find it odd the hate people still have for Mourinho. Like, what did he do to ruffle your feathers? I'm like,
It's
joy.
It's us. It's not Mourinho. It's us at this point. People don't like that we like him. So when bad things happen, they're happy. They're happy they get to jeer us.
See, I find it sick, but look, I find it still sickening and sad the kind of pleasure that people take. Do you know the amount of notifications I got? I just put a friendly tweet about, and my tweet still stands. My tweet was about, you said he's a defensive dinosaur and he doesn't know how to score goals, and Tottenham have now scored about 16 goals in 3 games.
Yeah.
That still stands. But people were like, oh, how did the tweet age badly? It still stands, which means that you are wrong in saying that Mourinho is a defensive brick. No, this shows that he can actually manage a team.
My tweet is still relevant. Just pray he doesn't win the league. I didn't say anything. I didn't say they will win. I don't think they will. I'm just saying, don't let it happen. Just
they don't win in the league.
For your sake, I plead to God. I hope it doesn't happen.
But Daniel,
so I don't have to do what I know I will do.
No, Daniel, let's just be real right now. They're not winning the league. That's a fact.
No, the best they can do is win an FA Cup or maybe Europa League. But it's always bad on Twitter when I see 20 plus. I'm just like, what? I didn't mean anything by it. It's just like, but
no. They rampage my notifications, man. They rampage them, man. I was like, guys,
when I see 20 plus, I'm just like, I didn't mean it like that. Like, you guys just trying to get at me, and it makes me realize, like, I don't care that much. But if I did care about Twitter and people coming at me, it makes me have some sort of sympathy for like children that always grew up with social media.
Oh yeah.
And they get like disliked, or people are tweeting at them crazy, or they get bullied. For me, I could just turn off Twitter. I didn't grow up with it, so it's no big deal. I cannot look.
Turn it off. Even if you grew up with social media, you can still turn it off.
No, but if you're 13 and you've never known a world without Twitter, Twitter actually means something to you. Like likes and stuff mean something to you.
No, turn it off. Go outside and get it.
That's easy for us to say. Have hope.
I don't give a damn. Turn it off. Go out.
I agree with you. I think like if you have kids, tell them like just get off, go outside, ride a bike, shoot basketball, go find I don't know a hobby or something. But these kids grow up with social media, so when those types of things happen to me, I'm like, damn. Like if I was 10 years younger, would I be thinking about like ending it all or something like that? It's just like because like do you remember like in the World Cup where Messi missed the penalty against Iceland, and then people were like, yo, some guy in India killed himself. I'm glad I don't live to where one, I don't take football that seriously, and two, I don't take Twitter that seriously, like especially from people who have like football abbeys and their name is like Ronaldinho 3592876731. I'm just like, okay, like,
you're dealing with a loser. You're dealing with a loser.
It's not loser. It's just like I know what this person is. Like they're just trolling.
Loser.
So Mourinho isn't going to win the league. But
remember,
don't let it happen.
But remember the tweet that they put out. What's it called? If Bill just scored that, did you see that skill that he did that little 2-step?
I thought it would have been harder to miss than to score.
I can see how you miss it. Because
I can only see how you miss it if you're trying to be clever.
No. I can see how you miss because it's all in the same motion and it's so quick.
I can see how I miss it. I can see how you miss it. I don't see how Gareth Bale, like professional footballer Gareth Bale, 80 million pound Gareth Bale,
who's just come back
Galactical Gareth Bale, 4-time Champions League winner Gareth Bale,
who's just come back from injury.
I don't care. He could have been in his sleep like Rip Van Winkle. He should still make it. And it's just it's rust. I don't want to go too hard. Obviously, I wanted him to make it for the narrative, not because I care too much about whatever happened. But if he goes far post instead of near post, he probably makes it. But maybe being a left-footed player, it would naturally take him to go near than far. But that's just me shooting him bail that I don't think I need to give. No pun intended. All right. Another 3-3, if memory serves.
Oh, God.
Frank, PH. Frank. Frank Lampard. Your thoughts on Chelsea, have hope? Oh, but do we tell the people now what we're gonna do, or we save that for the end?
Let's save it for the end.
Okay, tease. Save for the end. Stick around to the end for some talking tactics / not talking tactics news. Your thoughts on Chelsea, have hope?
I don't even know where to begin, man. My thing is. This is a fact that we have to deal with. We are dealing with a rookie. Let's start there.
He's a sophomore at this point. Just a bad one.
Yeah, okay, but
or like he failed last season and he came back. But
no. Let me come from a different angle because I don't want to start with man. I always start with man. Let me come from a different angle. The defense. It's the player's fault, not Lampard. Let's investigate that. Sarri had pretty much the same defenders, but had a better defensive record than Lampard. I find it hard to believe that conceding 50-plus goals a season is only down to the players and what the players are doing and has nothing to do with the manager. 3 goals conceded against West Brom, 3 goals conceded against Southampton. Yes, there are defensive mistakes, but I would believe that these defensive mistakes may be linked into a particular philosophy that the team has and a lack of confidence. And my thing as well is, if you keep on changing the defensive partner and keep on changing the central back partnership, mistakes are going to happen. I don't know any top manager who changes their defensive partnership when they don't have to. I've never seen that before.
Can I pause you right there? Isn't part of the problem that you went a whole season, last season, knowing that defense was a problem? Then, in your infinite wisdom, you decide, you know what? We're going to spend a bunch of money on Havertz, which I've gotten into a bunch of times. But because we do that, let's go for Thiago Silva. He's on a free. Not thinking, this is a 36-year-old man who still plays international football. So I think he goes out with Brazil, the Brazilian national team, and he doesn't get back in time to start that game alongside Zuma. Or I guess they're giving him rest or whatever it is, because I don't think he was even in the team. So isn't that part of the problem? That, okay, yeah, you went for the easy fix, shall we say, or the cheaper fix in Thiago Silva. But if you had signed somebody who was more, I don't know, younger, or who had the facilities to play multiple games in a week, you have a top center back who's available for you.
De Vrij, Upamecano. The names are there.
The names were there. It's just you spent the money on Havertz. Fair enough. He scored a goal. Cool. Timo Werner had a great game. Shout out to him. But the defensive frailties are there for all to see.
No, but let's go back to your point.
Are we even going to talk about Kepa?
No. We'll get there. But let's go back to that point that I made, because that point is very key. Now, you can be happy about Kai Havertz, Werner, boom, quality signings. But let's just be real. Chelsea's problem last season wasn't scoring goals or being attacking. The problem was defense. That was the issue. So, what did Klopp do? Klopp was like, defense we need to do something. He gets Van Dijk. Pep, he's been continuously looking for a defender. Laporte, now Ruben Diaz.
Even Manchester United, who spent probably bad money, but at least they tried 80, 70 million on Maguire. Like, they recognized this is a problem. Let's go get somebody. Chelsea looking for the cheap option. Thiago Silva. Cool. But he's 36.
I mean, okay, so that's one thing there, is that for me, the defensive problem is twofold. It's, yes, the defenders are making mistakes, but it's also with the fact that you obviously don't have a defensive plan that these guys can buy into. And I'm sorry, I have to keep repeating this point because it is very key. You even know this in Football Manager as well. It's like, what you never touch, I will change the attacker, I'll change thingy. What I never touch my 2 central defenders. That is always untouched. I only change it if there's a yellow card or a guy has like a 4 out of 10, 2 games running. If not, those 2 guys, I don't touch them.
Do you know what it is? Do you know what? Chelsea have 5 senior center backs. There's Rudiger, Tomori, Zuma, Christensen, and Silva. And if anybody makes a mistake, okay, I'll change it. Or it's just Christensen has political power in the club. We know that.
Oh, how? Seriously?
Of course. Like, have you not seen the stories with him and his dad? Like, oh, we're looking to leave, this and that. And the club, I guess they understand this. He can be a good defender. I think he's only 23, 24, 25, somewhere in there. He still has 10 years to play. We don't want to miss out on him. So if Lampard says the partnership is Silva and Zuma, let's say, you don't think Christensen's people are leaving little drops here and there? Okay, Lampard might be swayed one way or the other, play him. Tomori, we all know. I don't think he's done anything wrong other than stay at the club. Like, that's his only mistake. Like, go get playing time. I could say the same for Hudson-Odoi. Like, your only mistake here is not leaving. But yeah, there's too many options for an inexperienced manager not to change one of them. So if somebody makes a mistake, I have 4 other options, or 3, Let's use one of them. Let's see what happens. And that incessant need to change is a problem in and of itself. But then I think there are other factors that are behind that, which are more kind of political in that sense, especially Christensen. And if you sign a 36-year-old Thiago Silva, you're not going to have him on the bench. He wants to play. He needs to play. He probably had assurances that he would play. So, and we can see with Rudiger. Rudiger's not even in the team. Actually, credit to him for not signing the contract extension to get loaned or whatever it is. Like, I actually think that's a wise decision. But it's just there's too many options for somebody like Lampard not to make a mistake.
Yeah, okay. So that's there. Then
so can we talk about the goalkeeper though?
We'll get there. Let's leave him to last because he's special. Mount.
Not every week, Mount. We get it.
But because people were that. How can you blame Mount when he's not the defender or not making any defensive mistakes? My thing is this.
I don't blame him. Well, you go ahead. You might.
No. Mount is not to blame. Of course, he's not to blame. But my question is, that wasn't Chelsea's strongest team. And this could have been a case of like, yes, you're going to concede because your defense is trash and defensive tactics are trash. But maybe you outscore the opposition because you have the strongest attacking team. And the strongest attacking team, Hudson-Odoi, stats. Pulisic is on the left, Hudson-Odoi is on the right. And you give yourself the best attacking chance to outscore the opposition because you will concede goals, but hopefully you can now just score more goals than you concede. But there was no rationale for you to start with Mount in the team. So again, it's like it goes back to your centre back point. The worst thing I think that could happen to Lampard is him buying all these players, because I just think he's obsessed with, and he even mentioned it in an interview as, the beauty about these players that they can play multiple positions. So he takes pride in them playing multiple positions. So it's almost like, hey man, who knows what I'm going to play? Who knows which position I'm going to play? So he gets off on that with guys not knowing what they're going to be doing from game to game. So
okay, I need to write down. Okay, Mount. I need to write this down so I don't forget. Another kind of psychological point that I would like to jump in his brain, and maybe maybe he doesn't even think about this, but maybe he does consciously. Maybe he thinks, I don't know, just going on a limb. Maybe he has the perception that the only reason I have this job is because I'm a Chelsea legend. So I need to prove by doing tactical changes, tactical switches, playing players in different positions. I need to look as if I'm doing something that somebody else might not think of or might not do.
Similar to Pep with Bayern Munich and Lam.
Because subconsciously, I need to know, or people need to know, that I'm doing something. I'm in charge. Part of this is me. I deserve to be here. Like, I'm not just here because my name is Frank Lampard. I'm here because I actually am a manager, and let me do some manager things by playing Mount on the wing. And you're looking at him like, that doesn't make sense when you have a natural winger on the bench. But for him, he might think about it like, this is some tactical next level thing that nobody else is.
If we win, it was me.
It's a prideful thing. The idea that nobody else is going to think of this. So if nobody else thinks of it, maybe I should do it. And that way me and Morris and the rest of the guys can look like we're up to something. It's like, no, just do the simple thing. If you have a winger, play the winger. If you have a center back, play the center back. If you have a central defensive midfielder, play him in central defensive midfield. If you have a fullback, play him at fullback. Not if it's Alonso. If you have a striker, play him as a striker. Like, don't try to reinvent the wheel. Like, the players have been trained in their positions for years. Play them in their preferred position. Back to Mount, and this actually ties in. Mount he can play as a free 8. He can play as a number 10. Those are his two positions. Yeah. That's what he should be playing. When people see Mount on the wing, they're like, Mason Mount, why? It's not about Mason Mount, the individual. I actually think he's a pretty good midfielder.
He's all right.
And I think he could be a really, really good number 10. Like his technique, his mind, like the runs he makes, the pressing, it's all there. But he's not a winger. So what? It's not looking at Mount like, why are you playing? Like, what is wrong with you, Mason? It's not that. It's why is the manager insistent on playing you in a position that's not natural to you?
And that's you don't enjoy. You don't enjoy that position.
Yeah, like he has the mass. He's a person. Like he can go run around on the wing if he wants to. Fair enough. You could send me out there. I could give you 5 minutes, maybe. But I could go play on the wing in theory. But that's not what I should be doing. I shouldn't be on the pitch. Mason Mount shouldn't be in that area. He should be central, or at least doing central things. I don't know. I was like, I saw something like on the wall back here, and I was like, is there a bug? But no, it was just something on my screen. Mason Mount shouldn't be on the wing. So I don't want people to think, oh, these guys really hate Mason Mount. I have nothing against him. I actually think he's really good. That's maybe stretching it. I think he's good. Or at least he has the potential to be good.
No. Basically, I think that is the main thing, is like, it's just baffles the mind that the player is clearly being played out of position, and your only argument is that he tracks back and he works hard. So a winger who your primary function should be to attack and offer something going forward, he's only there because he tracks back and he works hard, which is insane. That's insane.
It's like Hudson-Odoi can't do that, or even if he can't do it to his level, he can't offer you more going forward in that same position.
No, Daniel. Let's just Mason Mount, let's say he tracks better and does much better defensively than Hudson-Odoi. Lampard, you are the only man I know on this planet who you are playing a winger over another. You're playing a player over a natural winger because this player works hard defensively in the wing position. I've never heard of any manager use that rationale.
Even, I think Pulisic was even playing on the right, so Mount could play on the left wide. Like, it's just this. I'm trying not to use the N word. Like, I'm trying really not to. But this guy, man, like, this guy, like, I can't take it. I can't.
It's crazy. No. It's like I've never seen a manager make decisions like this. It's special.
Look. All I want, I pray Ziyech gets fit. I so pray Ziyech gets fit, because if he gets fit and we still see Mount wing, then we know what this is. Yeah. We know what this is. It's just like, oh, so this is your son. Legitimate. Okay, I get it. Like, we all have sons, I guess. Like, let me put it this way: if I could have played Batshuayi as much as he plays Mount, then I wouldn't have a problem with it. Like, I'm playing him. He's playing. The whole world could be against me. Mitchie starts. He's just like that with Mason Mount. Fair enough,
But just to end that, just think like, if you're Hudson-Odoi,
Bayern.
No. But I'm just trying to because like there's a moment where like you just saw Hudson-Odoi sitting on the bench. I'm thinking that what's going through your head? Because imagine
what he's thinking. I should have won a treble.
No. But just listen. You're going. Imagine how you must feel where a player who isn't natural in your position is being played ahead of you, and as you're watching, you're like, this guy is not beating any players. He's not getting to the byline. He's not producing any crosses. He's not doing any 1v1 battles. So in your mind, you're like, what is he doing in my position that I couldn't do? So a central player is playing in my naturalized position.
Do you know another one? Do you know another one? And obviously, I'm going to relate this back to Batshuayi just because he was on my brain. There were instances where either Morata got injured, Costa got injured, and Conte and just Antonio Conte, rather, would choose to play Pedro, Willie, and Hazard number 9 instead of using an actual center forward. They would go false 9.
Yeah.
And you're looking at Michi like, well, Michi, you probably should leave if they'd rather play Eden Hazard, or rather, they'd rather put Pedro on the wing so Hazard can play centrally. You probably need to go. And then I think he went on loan to Dortmund or wherever it was. So I look at Hudson-Odoi kind of the same way. Like, if the manager is going to play a central player wide over you, and it might not even have anything to do with you, it's just he loves this guy so much that I can't get over him, even when it's unnatural positions. That Bayern loan's looking kind of good. That Bayern deal was looking kind of good. I could have won a Champions League, and it's clear what Bayern are about. We're gonna buy Coleman, Gnabry, Davies. Just if you're young, black, and fast, they want you. So, hey, I should have probably gone.
He should have gone. I was saying that he should have gone.
But I was saying he should have left because we know what Chelsea is. They just gobble people up and then they don't use them properly. Anyway, I have Ollie written down here. A lucky 4-1? Like a fortunate 4-1? Like, we could do this quick before we get to Milan derby.
I think, look, man, I mean, they had to respond. United had to respond, I think. And I just think that, is it, his name is it Sans Maximilius?
Alan Saint Maximin.
Or then Saint Maximin. Like, the guy was doing some stuff, man. The guy was doing
just ASM. You can go ASM.
ASM. But
baller straight.
I think United, they needed this. So whether it's lucky or not, they needed this win because Oli is under pressure. United are under pressure. Maguire was under pressure. So Maguire, he needed that goal as well. And he needed just like a calm kind of defensive performance plan. So I just think, look, man, they got the win. And it's now about, okay, now what can they do in the next game? Because whenever you're under pressure, whatever which way you get it, just get the win. Just get the win and move on. The worst thing that could have happened to United is if they drew or they lost. Then it would be like, oh dear.
They were down 1-0 quick.
Yeah. Like that's
so Luke Shaw, I think it was own goal. Yeah. So it was looking like even I was like, just give it a little bit of just some tweets, just don't let it happen. And it didn't. My juju's been really off. Yours is worse. But
but let me ask you this: do you think Oli sees out the season? Do you think he gets sacked? I think he
stays. I think he stays, but he leaves before 21-22.
He leaves.
Yeah,
do you think he could actually leave?
Well, no, I think they either sack him, he resigns, whatever the case. I think he leaves respectfully at the end of the season. And then they get a Pochettino or whichever free agent manager is out there before next season. I think Lampard could go the same way. If they don't reach the objectives, look, we gave you however much money, blah, 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 blah. You didn't reach the targets, so we're going to let you go. But it's going to be respectful because Ollie and Frank are what they are to those particular institutions. So it would look bad. Manchester United sack Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Like, that severs a tie with a legendary player for your club. But Chelsea sack Frank Lampard. Like, he's not going to be happy about that.
It's different. Abramovich doesn't give it down.
I don't think he would sack Frank Lampard.
But he would sack Mourinho.
Fair enough. But I think Frank Lampard, the guy, means more to Chelsea and Chelsea fans than Jose Mourinho. Because it's kind of understood that a manager will go from club to club. Frank Lampard is forever Chelsea. Like, that doesn't change. So I think if they wanted to get rid of him, they'd probably have to make him resign. Like, look, Frank, I've decided that I can't carry this anymore. I've taken the team as far as I can, but it needs a new voice or a new idea or something like that.
So if Chelsea are 18th in March and Lampard refuses to resign,
Frank resigns, but really underneath, it's like a punt. Like, get the fuck out of here. But it's a resign. All right. Milan derby. Ibrahimovic. Should you be 39 years old scoring braces against Inter Milan?
Do you want me to be real or do you want me to be nice?
You know that emoji where the guy's like this?
Oh, yeah. No. I always use that because that's like on my favorites in the emoji. Like, it's the face palm and the thing like this. Both are black, by the way. So yeah.
You know what pisses me off? Just as an aside, when people who are like darker skin use the light skin emoji, and then people who are light skin that use like, you're not that shade. Like, chill out. Yeah. Like, you're bleaching your emoji. Stop with that. But go ahead.
Ibra. Okay, I don't know how to attack this, but I'll attempt it.
Is it Ibra's greatness or is it Serie A's
You
trashness?
see that? You've now hit the nail on the head. Would Ibrahimovic do this in the Premier League or La Liga at this age? 39. Let's continue. Ibrahimovic is a very special player in terms of what he's been able to do throughout his career. Champions League flop. I get that. But what he's been able to do for the majority of his career, you have to give him credit. Yes, an aspect of it is he's talented. And his talent shows that he can still be able to be effective at 39 years of age. But this is a league where also Cagliarella was top scorer. And Cagliarella, I think, turns 66 next week or something.
You know, he has over like 150 Serie A goals. Like, people who bring up Quagliarella clearly don't understand. Like, this guy has like over 160, 70 Serie A goals. Like, this guy's a goal scorer.
Yeah.
So that he won the Golden Boot once, it's like he's like Jamie Vardy, like, you know,
and
just
also
old dudes that just get goals. Like,
bro,
it's
and
not
also
really an insult.
His goal in the 2010 World Cup is still one of the craziest goals I've ever seen in my life.
If his name was some traditional Italian sounding name, people would give it credit. But because it's Quagliarella and you can say it like it's like Rasho Nesterovic or Kwame Brown.
Do you remember his goal? Do you remember his goal in the 2010 World Cup against Slovakia?
And it's not in my brain, no.
Bro, when you have time, guys.
Is it like a flick? Or maybe that's something he did.
He chips the keeper from outside the box.
No. The one I have in my brain is one that he did for, I think, Sampdoria, whichever club he's with, where he like back heel flicked it from like some wild angle. Like, the guy's a goal scorer. So
he's a goal scorer.
Again, it's just his name. It's Quagliarella. Like,
so no, look. I think.
Meanwhile, your name is some. Never mind.
Look. The initial thing is Ibrahimovic. Look, wow, how are you 39? Also, his birthday is a day before mine. How are you 39 and you're able to do what you're able to do? It's amazing. I'm like, this is crazy, because the notion is you go to the MLS to retire. That's the retirement home. So I thought, bro, after the MLS, you're done. You're finished. But the fact that he's been able to come back and do this is amazing. But my thing is this: Inter Milan. How do you allow? Because remember, you're supposed to be the strongest team in the league, and you're supposed to be the clear favorites to win the league. Even though I'm not betting against a team who won 9 times in a row. I'm sorry. How do you
managed by Pirlo, though?
I don't give a damn. They won 9 times in a row. I'm not betting against a team that have won 9 times in a row. It's not happening. But my thing though is, how do you let a 39-year-old score twice against you, or have the kind of performance against you? So that's the thing. I don't know whether a 39-year-old Ibrahimovic would be this good or score to the same degree in a La Liga or a Premier League or a Bundesliga. I don't know. Maybe he would. Because he scored I think was it 16, 17 Gs or something for Man United, but he was 36?
That season, he scored 28 goals in all competitions and tore his ACL or something like that. So
how old was he?
He 36, 37. Or it was 35, 36. But either way, the fact that he was that age scoring that many goals, like, do you think Ronaldo at 35, 36 could score that many goals for Manchester United now? I wonder. Probably, but but you know it's comparable.
This is what I'll give Ibrahimovic. His game isn't predicated on physical attributes in terms of speed and movement. Once Aubameyang reaches a certain age, a lot of his game is going to be taken away. Jamie Vardy, I think that a lot of his game is based on his speed. Once he loses that, it's going to be hard. Ibrahimovic,
he's 33. I don't know if he's losing that speed. I think he'll just be fast forever, bro. Because I would have thought Jamie Vardy would have been slow like 3 years ago.
Vardy, 39-year-old Jamie Vardy isn't sprinting onto through balls. No. No, he's not. That's not happening.
I still think he'll be faster than like a Maguire or somebody like that. But go ahead.
Yeah, my thing that Ibrahimovic, his game has always been about technique, intelligence, and just being in the right place at the right time. So you never lose that.
And he'll always be big. And big strikers in Serie A just work. Like Edin Dzeko has a career. Why? Because he's big. If you put Olivier Giroud there, it works. Why? Because he's big. Lukaku can get goals. He's big plus fast.
Well, but also, I think the key.
But the key that you bring up is the mentality and the mind.
Which is why I want to go to that. Ibrahimovic is one of those guys where, and even if it might be a game, a mirage, or whatsoever, he has this crazy self-belief in himself that he believes, "Yeah, I am a lion. I'm this, like that," you know. And even if he knows that he's playing into it, and he's pretty much created a brand out of that, that does help him to be like, it may say 39 on my passport, but mentally I'm 21.
Age ain't number the number.
We
don't support R. Kelly.
Yeah, we don't support that. Thank you, please not. So
Robert.
Okay, but my question is this: is 43-year-old Ibrahimovic still around? 44-year-old, because that Japanese dude was what, 49,
50-ish.
Jesus. So
I think as long as he wants to play, because his name is Zlatan Ibrahimovic and his brand is his brand, I don't know if it necessarily will be Serie A, but somebody will give him a job because he is who he is, and it will help their club marketing-wise. So I would have thought that the MLS going to LA Galaxy or wherever it was, like that would have been kind of like a perfect place to be. But I guess he thought, if I can score 30 goals here, I can give you 10, 15 in Serie A, and I'd rather be in Milan anyway. I think his wife's like a model or something like that, so that's a great place to be, or former model, whatever it is. So yeah, as long as somebody's willing to pay him for being Zlatan, primarily, I think he'll play. So if he wants to play until he's 45, somebody will give him a deal. Serie B, maybe back in Sweden. Obviously, I think he's burnt to bridge there because he bought stake in a rival club of Malmo. So maybe he couldn't go back there. But hey, somebody will pay him because Zlatan is Zlatan. And Zlatan, you don't even need to say his last name. Both of his names are just as iconic.
Yeah.
Like there is no other Ibrahimovic and there is no other Zlatan. So somebody will give him a job. And if he has that mentality of, I want to prove that I can do this as old as nobody has ever done it, if that's become his goal in life, that I want to be the 40-year-old in Serie A that scored 20 goals a season, that proves my mentality. Who's going to stop him?
Well, no, see, my thing about Ibrahimovic is that when all is said and done, I will always come back to, you didn't fulfill your potential, which is the Champions League.
This is why I have a bone to pick with you, though, because who's your GOAT?
My personal GOAT.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, are we going to do this again?
Ronaldo.
No.
And if Ronaldo hasn't won if Ronaldo hasn't won a Champions League, I was thinking for a second, when I say Ronaldo hasn't won, my mind automatically goes to World Cup because it's Ronaldo, Cristiano. But this is R9. Ronaldo hasn't won a Champions League. So you can't use that against Ibrahimovic.
Can I respond? Ronaldo, his injury. After his knee injury, he just wasn't the same player. I guarantee you, if Ronaldo did not have that knee injury, wherever he plays for, he would fire them to a Champions League. Fact.
So he was good enough to win a World Cup, but not enough to win a Champions League.
That is why he's a horseman. He's a horseman because he had no business doing what he did at that World Cup, because that's what made it amazing, because he was done. Finished. Knee injury. After the injury, you're finished. Your explosiveness is gone. Hence why his performance is all the more great, because he used the power of the mind to will himself to do what needed to be done for us to win that World Cup. Ibrahimovic never had a major knee injury. He never had a major knee injury.
Because there's something in my brain, and I just want to make sure
what's this
that I'm correct. Can you remind us when Ronaldo went to Real Madrid?
I think it was 2002. So I think it was after the 2002 World Cup.
And can you tell me what that says? This is a Champions League final in 2002. And Real Madrid were Champions League winners when he went to Madrid. in 2002 after the World Cup.
Okay.
So my question is, Ronaldo went to a Champions League winning team in 2002, but never won it with Real Madrid.
Because he had a knee injury.
But he was good enough to win Brazil the World Cup that same year.
He had I don't think you're hearing me right.
I'm not accusing you. I'm just
you are.
I am.
This sounds like an accusation, and I want to respond.
No, I just want you to give the logic of Ronaldo hasn't won a Champions League, but he still might go. Ibrahimovic hasn't won a Champions League. That's a stick to beat him with. Unless, and maybe you can get out of it this way, but I haven't heard you do this. Do you beat Ronaldo R9 with the same stick?
What do you mean in terms of?
If how would I word this? I've never heard you seriously critique him for not winning a Champions League. If you do that, then I think it's fair for you to then critique Ibrahimovic with that same critique. If you don't critique Ronaldo for not winning the Champions League, then you can't mention that for anybody who hasn't won it. So if we go through the list, I think like Thuram hasn't won it, Buffon hasn't won it, Totti never won it. Like there's a bunch of players who've never won the Champions League before.
And again, my thing is this: Ibrahimovic, you never had the kind of major knee injury that Ronaldo had. So you literally had no excuse not to win the Champions League because at your peak, no major injury, working at the peak of your physical powers with the best teams at the time, Juventus, Inter Milan, so forth, you were not able to at least even reach a Champions League final.
Yes,
Ronaldo's... let me land. Ronaldo's knee injury was career ending. You say, then how was he able to win the World Cup? That shows you why he is great. Because Ronaldo was that, I have no business being on this World Cup. I have no business being part of this.
How come you just can't say there's different rules for Ronaldo, man?
No, they're not. No, they're
not. It's different
no,
rules.
Not.
That's okay. You can be you.
No.
But it's a different rule, man.
If Ronaldo didn't receive that knee injury, he'd win a Champions League. That's a fact.
But now this opens up another Pandora's box. Is the World Cup harder to win than the Champions League?
World Cup is harder. Yeah, it's harder.
So if he can do the harder thing, how come he couldn't do the less hard thing? And this is the only thing about your argument that I don't understand. I appreciate R9, like phenomenal. I appreciate him. Obviously, I don't have the same lived experience with him as you do. So I'm not getting at him. I understand. Like I've seen the footage of his knee. Like it's nasty stuff to watch. And he missed a whole calendar year. Like if for the young kids who want to go look at his Wikipedia page, go look at 99-2000. There's no data. He missed a whole season from an injury, and there was like pieces before and after that he missed. So I understand the gravity of that knee injury, but he came back and he won the World Cup, and that's part of his triumph, like the great thing that he did. But he did play for more seasons with a Galactico team that had Zidane, that had Figo, that had, we won't say Beckham to the same extent, but that had great players in there. So it's just a flaw in your logic, and it can't always go back to the knee injury, because in theory he overcame the knee injury by winning the World Cup. And especially the importance that you and I put on the World Cup. So that's all I'm saying. I don't want to get lost in the weeds, and I'll let you respond, but it's just odd, is what I'll say.
No. I think it's very simple. For Ronaldo, as a Brazilian, the World Cup means everything, and I think for him, because of what happened in 1998, he said, no matter what, I am bringing this World Cup home. Whatever I need to do, I'm bringing this World Cup home. And he placed that mission of winning the World Cup for Brazil more important than anything else in football. Sure, he wanted to win a Champions League with Real Madrid and so forth, but his focus was, I have to right the wrong of 1998, where that World Cup was stolen from me. So, and it's as simple as that. So for me, him not winning the Champions League, bro, I'm sorry. Ronaldo's Ronaldo. I will not hold that against him, because
that's all I'm saying. Like, and somebody else would tell you, Zlatan is Zlatan.
And anybody that says that is a moron. You trying to compare Ibrahimovic to Ronaldo, you're a flipping moron because Ibrahimovic is on the same galaxy as Ronaldo. No, stop it. Anybody saying that is an absolute idiot that knows nothing about football. Don't do that. Ronaldo is Ronaldo. That's why he's called the phenomenon. So no,
I'm just saying, it's just I feel a contradiction, and maybe you don't, which is fair. Barcelona and just quickly. Romelu Lukaku, I don't like the word world class, but we're going there. Romelu Lukaku is world class. I don't want to hear any arguments. Harry Kane is world class. I don't want to hear any arguments. Next.
I don't co-sign that full statement. So,
do you know what it is? And we can spend 3 minutes here. I think people don't like calling Harry Kane world class because of the agenda that the English media had before he actually fulfilled the moniker. So they were calling him world class when there was no evidence to support the claim, because they're the English media and they're premature in their assessments of every player that they've ever had from all time since 1880s. They're the greatest thing ever. Like, just chill, England. But that's not what they do. Empires and whatnot. But I think in this case, even though they were premature, they did eventually, they were made correct by Harry Kane's progression. So I think indeed, Harry Kane is a world-class striker. Put it this way. When Lewandowski leaves...
without being caught in a CL final.
Well, we don't necessarily judge world-classness by moments. We judge world-classness by what you do over the course of seasons and consistency. Yeah. Okay. And because it's not a moments thing, like we can say Harry Kane isn't clutch or Harry Kane isn't a big-time player, but that's different than being world-class, because Thierry Henry was trash in big games. I think he scored 1 goal in like 10 finals, but nobody would ever come out of their mouth and say he wasn't a world-class striker, because world-classness is about consistency over time, not necessarily moments. So we did that argument quickly. But the point is, when Lewandowski leaves Bayern Munich, when Benzema leaves Real Madrid, when I guess Suarez already left Barcelona, when PSG need a new striker, when Aguero leaves Manchester City, all the top clubs in Europe, they will target or at least think about paying 150 million, 120 million, whatever it is. They'll think about Harry Kane. They might not pull the trigger on it, especially Bayern, because they don't do big money. But they'll think about pulling the trigger because he is who he is.
And what is he? What is he?
Just
exactly?
A goal scorer, a pure goal scorer, and
that can score in a major final. They can trust in big games.
Well, for Spurs, there's not enough evidence to get you into the finals. If you play for Madrid, a Bayern, a PSG, a Manchester City, etc., you will get more chances to prove yourself in big finals because they'll just reach more because you're not playing for Spurs. But yeah, I think the kind of evidence that he's the world-class striker will be every world-class club or every elite club in Europe will think about him when the time comes for them to get their replacement. So there you go. And Lukaku, increasingly the same. I think Manchester City might look at him, although that might be a bit dodgy. I think PSG will look at him. I think Madrid might. Barcelona won't.
But I think he likes his relationship with Conte, and I think
me too.
If I'm Lukaku, stay with Conte.
But I mean, I could see him at Juventus, knowing how Italy do their things. Like I could see Lukaku at Juventus or anywhere. So that's kind of how I'm judging world class these days. Like, do the elite clubs want you, or could I see a world in which you would go there? And for Kane and Lukaku, I see that. So people who trash them, I just think they're being disingenuous with the truth. Speaking of Madrid and Barca, though, they took some L's to some clubs that were promoted, not Barca, but Madrid. Cadiz. I've never heard of these guys. Are we adding them to the Granada, Elche? What's the other one? Ibar?
Huesca.
Like, are we adding them to that list? Okay.
No, well, should we? Because they just won 1-0. Like, we have them there because this guys were taking like lubrications, baptisms, sacrifices,
10-0, 9-0, 8-0. Yeah. So we'll see. And actually, Granada, they're not as bad anymore. I'm told. So
yeah, No,
There
but
you go.
you see, my thing is, look. First of all, Messi, I don't even know where Messi's head is at. So, where Barcelona are concerned, Messi, do you want to stay? Do you want to leave? Are you changing your mind? I'm confused. Griezmann, it's a flop. It's a failure. It didn't work out. So it is what it is. You can say about, I played in the wrong position and everything. This has been a brick move. Real Madrid, too much reliance on Benzema. And this is where we now talk about Hazard.
Again, I told you bought too much stock at too high a price, and there was no way you were going to make money from it.
Even based on what he did in his final season for Chelsea?
Nope. Because he was 28, and you can't pay that back. There's no way you can make money from it. So,
I mean, but it is
like the only player whose stock you bought that I think you'll be able to get back, in theory, is Ousmane Dembele.
The Oos.
Exactly. That's the only player who I think he put so much of his bank account in this player. I think he might be able to get it back if the guy can just stay fit. But Hazard, nah.
Oh, okay. So you think that Hazard, it's over? Like his career is pretty much over?
I don't think it's over. I just don't think he's going to reach the heights of 2018, 2019 again. One, because he's hurt, and two, I don't think he wants to. Like, is there any world where in 2 years or just next year where you see Hazard having a great Euros or a great World Cup? I can't see it. I would love it. I would love for it to happen because I like the guy. But I can't envision him just being the best player at the Euros next year.
But see, my thing,
and that's guys, what he would need to do to rekindle our opinion.
You see, guys need to just ignore what I've said. Ignore the stock that I bought and everything.
Just forget everything I've ever said.
No. Okay, just put H to one side. If you have a heart, if you're not a prick or a bastard, you should feel some sympathy for Hazard. If you're not biased and you take H out of the equation, when Hazard is fit, he's the top 3 best players in the world. Hazard at his best is a top 3 player in the world.
I don't know if that's true anymore, man. Like it was true last year.
No. Look.
When he was going through his troubles, but this is like 48 months almost.
When he was at his best, he was top 3. Okay, just yes.
What's the year you're thinking?
2018.
Okay.
Thank you. So, if you're a football fan and you're ignoring all the stock that I bought on this dude, you should be like, man, I feel sorry for him. You should feel sorry for him. It's like people like, it's been 300 days since Hazard scored a goal. It's been chill. It's like
don't say things like that.
No, okay. When do we finally say, okay, guys, ha, I feel sorry for him? When is that going to happen?
Never.
That's never.
Well, okay,
because people are emotionless bastards.
It's your fault. It's the life that you built for yourself. People might think that, and some people might say it, but when they're talking to you and they know you might hear it, Have Hope needs to hear the smoke. Although you can't hear smoke, but he needs to see the smoke, basically. So that's what it is. I think people might actually genuinely feel bad for him. Like, yo, this is like not going as well as we think it could or should have gone. But Have Hope said so much stuff that when we talk to him or about him or in his comment section, now he needs to know that this is the guy that you said was this. This is the guy that you said was that. Like, that's what it's going to be like. So this is the world that you created for you.
Okay, but
which I don't know I don't know if that's necessarily what actual real life is like.
Daniel, when do we reach a point where, okay,
you're never gonna see that. You're never gonna see that.
Why not?
Because you hyped him to such a level, or not even. Hold on, let me land. I wouldn't even say you hyped him. It's just that you were so celebratory when he was at his peaks that pissed people off so much that now that he's fallen, they're not going to come to you with sympathy. They're going to come to you with pointing fingers. So you won't see the sympathy that people may or may not have for him because they'll just want to attack you.
And So there is no end date on this. There's no end date.
He would have to like break his leg or like tear his ACL or retire from football or have to come out with some disease.
Then
like,
they'll say,
Hazard has a thyroid condition.
Then they'll say that's HH. You see what he's now done. All that today is saying is now giving him like.
It would have to be something so dramatic to where, damn, I can't really pick on him anymore at your expense.
So now I feel bad. Man. People are just losers because it's like, guys, get a life. Yes, I said it. All right.
Okay.
I was right
we have 4 questions. We have 4 questions. Some of them are retreads. So, Adaz 3 says,
yeah, he's in the staff chat.
Who has declined more from their 17-18 season form, Conte or Firmino? I don't want to say Conte, given the choices, but
so who?
I don't even blame Conte for what I'm about to say.
Wait, what's the question? Who's had the biggest? Who's
declined more since 2018? Basically, and the answer is Conte. But I don't blame Conte. I blame Maurizio Sarri, Frank Lampard, and Didier Deschamps, because this whole thing started in the 2018 Europa League final. Conte was hurt. He shouldn't have played the game, and he played the game. And I think he got hurt in the game, but he played through it. They beat Arsenal 4-1. He wasn't necessarily necessary to the result. Hazard had the thing covered. Then Sarri leaves. Lampard comes in, and Conte's recovering from an injury that whole summer. He plays him against Manchester United in his first game, and he picks up a knock. He plays him the next week, he picks up a knock. And I think then he might have gone to internationals with France. I'm not sure. I don't think he did. But he picked up like 4 or 5 injuries because Lampard kept rushing him back into the team because he was under pressure because the results were going sideways. Then I guess Deschamps thinks, well, if he can play for the club, he can play for France. I was going to say France, but he can play for France. So then he picks him and plays him, 30 minutes here, 40 minutes here, an hour here, 90 minutes there. He comes back to Chelsea, not rested. They keep playing him. The way that Conte plays with its intensity, it's a lot of thinking, it's a lot of running. It's just very intensive. He's been doing that probably his whole life, right? But in the main, since 2014 with Leicester. Or 2015 with Leicester, sorry. There's only so long that a body can hold up running that much, doing that much on a football pitch.
So this is like a burnout then? His burnt out?
I wouldn't call it a burnout. It's just poor management. Like, he can do it, but don't ask him to do it for club and country when he's not 100%. And I understand if I was a manager and Conte was willing to go, it's going to be hard for me to leave him under the team because he is what he is.
And also, he never complains. Complains.
Look at the options Chelsea have in midfield. Would you rather have a 100% Bakayoko or a 100% Drinkwater or 100% this and that? Or would you rather have an 80% N'Golo Kante? I'm picking the 80% Conte, but realize when you play him at 80% for 90 minutes, he goes down to 70. And then when he's at 70 and you play him the next week for 90 more minutes, injury. And then the injuries start deteriorating what he's able to do physically.
But you see, in response to the question, both have declined. But when you say who's declined more, I'm thinking of where were they to begin with.
Conte was the best in the world at his position.
So basically, for Firmino, he but Liverpool guys said he was the next coming of Arnhem, but that's Liverpool fans. But Kante was the best in his position in the world at a point.
I think he still is probably the best in his position, but it's just the decline has happened. And this is why, people were like, yo, Conte needs to be a defensive midfielder. He needs to play DM. I'm like, he's not a defensive midfielder. He's a box-to-box midfielder that's more of a destroyer than just somebody who sits and mops up. But that's the position that he needs to develop into being. Like the whole Makalele thing that people think have thought since 2015.
He reads the game so well.
He
reads the game
he
so
hasn't
well.
been Makelele yet. Like, he hasn't adopted that. I'm stationary. I'm static. I'm here to protect my two central defenders and the back four. He hasn't really played that role up until like this season and parts last season, where Lampard was like, I want you in the team, but just play at the base. Because it's normally been Jorginho at the base with Kante kind of going back and forth, just in possession. And, you know, you saw him get assists and goals with Sarri and things like that. So that's the Makelele role, as it were. That's what he needs to develop into, and just sit. I don't need to do too much running. Use this. What's in between his ears, which is fantastic. Just use that. And if he develops that, he can extend his career into, I don't know, mid-30s. I think he's 29 now.
No. So basically, it's the same thing that Ibrahimovic is doing, where like you can't be a mobile 35, 36-year-old. So
it pisses me off, because I know the mentality of those managers too. Like, if it's Lampard, Sarri, Deschamps, send the robot out, send him out, just let him run until he's just dust. Like, who cares? Just send the little Negro out there. Like, I know that mentality. Like, I know it's in there, and it just pisses me off, because it's like there's a lack of humanity. Like, Conte is going to tell you I can play. Every footballer is going to tell you I can play. Let me play. But you have to have it within yourself to be like, I want to do what's best for you.
It's different. Yes, every footballer will say that they want to play. Kante is one of those guys where you'll never even know he's suffering, because he will not his body language. Because normally, as much you can just say that, yeah, this guy he's suffering. Kante, he so doesn't even care about.
You only know it once he's injured.
Once he's literally on the hospital bed.
Yeah, like, oh, like, you know.
Even then, he'll be like, bro, boss, just will me out. I can still play. So, you know.
It pisses me off, because I know where that mentality comes from. With the reaction from, this is now a Kevin Nash stand. What is this? What's your at, man? Jax365. His username was pretty long. With the reaction Liverpool fans are having with VVD's cruciate tear, is that an indicator of their fears of their defense? I think yes. He said, Jose Spurs, talk about it. We did. Due to the prevalence of penalties in the game right now, and the fact that conceding a penalty is usually worse than whatever chance you'd have given up had you not fouled, how do you guys feel about the idea of making penalties harder? Moving them back or putting them on an angle?
No. Change the handball rule. Keep penalties as it is. Leave my football.
I would like to see penalties moved back. Maybe like 2 yards.
No.
So instead of 11 yards, make it like 12 or 13.
No.
Like give the keeper a little bit better of a chance. Excuse me. Like give the keeper a little bit better of a chance to save it.
The whole point of, remember, football, it's difficult to score. It's hard to score. The whole point is don't give away a penalty.
I just think it would be interesting, like a penalty shootout from another yard away.
It's like you know,
World Cup final.
It's like, do you know how they do it in the MLS, man? That's trash. The whole
that video was from like the 80s, I think, or the early 90s, where they just did like 1v1s.
They were doing that back in the 90s in the MLS.
I said 80s, 90s. That's what I said, but they don't do it like that now, I don't think. I haven't watched MLS in a minute, but you know, I actually kind of like it. Like, I like the idea.
This is what I think.
Whether or not it should be done, I don't know. But like, I can see someone thinking let's make it more realistic. All right. Keegan Blaze asks, will Carl ever be back? Funny you ask. Carl's a busy guy these days, man. So Carl's not going to be a regular on the podcast anymore. You know, he has his athletic stuff that he's doing. He has some writing stuff that he's doing. If you want to listen to him talk about Manchester United, he has the Talk of the Devils podcast. So Carl's not going to be a regular feature on the podcast anymore. But when he's available, I'm sure we'll see him pop up every now and again. As always, we wish him the best. You know, we haven't kicked him out of the group chat or anything like that. Like, we're still cool. We're still boys. But it just makes more sense for him to do his thing and for him to take advantage of the time that he has.
Basically, he'll be like a special guest.
Yeah, so of course.
Come on, do a few things.
So as always, you know, we wish him the best. You know,
much love.
That's our guy.
Bob Marley.
All right. is there anything on your mind that you want to discuss? This room's got pretty dark, by the way.
Oh damn! What the heck?
Yeah. It's sun's coming down.
Anything on my mind? I'm not. Look, for me, Champions League, man. All in my mind is just Champions League, man. It's like, that's no Champions League and the Euros. I have a fear. I am terrified that the Euros may be cancelled next summer because of COVID. Because
I want to know, are they going to have it like the pan-European?
You can't do that. You can't do that.
I don't think you can. So like you're going to have like, I don't know.
The you know what? They're going to have to bubble it.
They're going to have a bubble.
Yeah.
Where all the teams come to.
They have in their hotel. Basically, they have to just copy the NBA thing. All the teams, you're all within this specific area. Boom.
If one city can do it, I would think like London, Paris, Berlin. It's gonna have to be like a big city that has enough stadiums, like 3 or 4.
Bro, the way Boris and UK have been moving, Portugal, because remember, I think they've handled it. One of the best. I think
Lisbon has enough stadiums.
So
and it's like all the way out there. It's like as far west as you can get on continental Europe. So just, hey, go out there. There's beaches, whatever it is. So, yeah. I don't really have anything on my mind, man. Just shout out to the people. 200 episodes. I see you guys in the comments. Big up. Thanks. Do you want to take do you want to take YouTube comments?
Yeah, why not? Yeah, so guys, send in some questions, guys.
Your brick questions. We will accept your brick questions.
Send in your questions, man, and then we'll answer some questions in the live chat. So, what does these 200 episodes mean? Oh, perfect time. The podcast.
You know what? I forgot.
Yeah, man.
So, as you guys could tell today, we ran our mouths a bit too long about Chelsea. So what we've decided is moving forward from this 200th episode of Talking Tactics, we're going to do another podcast. It's going to be a YouTube exclusive podcast. It's going to come out Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, whenever we can have the schedule. Let's not nail down something really concrete and specific until we get into the groove just yet. But it's going to be an all Chelsea podcast. That way we can move some of these views, or some of views meaning opinions, from Talking Tactics and put it just in a Chelsea space. That way you guys don't have to suffer through our complaining and ranting and whatnot. Or, if you want to join and you want to hear us rant and complain about Frank Lampard, PH, yeah, you can. So it's going to be the Complicated Chelsea podcast. Chelsea,
CCP.
Kind of Chelsea opinions from quasi half in, half out Chelsea
Look, guys,
fans.
we're gonna keep it all the way real. That's the key thing.
Who don't care.
We're gonna keep it all the way real.
Can you click on Sam? Like, why is Daniel a Chelsea fan?
All right. Oh, hey, Sam.
You will find out on Thursdays. See, I think on the podcast, well, like the first episode is just gonna have to be like, why do you care about this club?
Why are you Chelsea fans? What kind of Chelsea fans
Just
are
why?
you?
Why? I don't know. I was going to elaborate, but we will get into it. We'll get into it. So, yes, there is a new podcast that Half Hope and I are going to do. It's going to be on the Talking Tactics YouTube page. So go subscribe if you haven't. If you're watching, head over to the Talking Tactics YouTube channel and subscribe.
Yeah, man. So subscribe to that Talking Tactics, guys. Subscribe to the
so
Talking Tactics.
So we'll be doing 3 podcasts essentially every week. So the Talking Tactics Extra, which is exclusive to Patreon, Talking Tactics, which you'll obviously get, and the Complicated Chelsea podcast. So there you go. That's our big news, our big reveal for episode 200. So we hope you guys will appreciate our diligence on that end. So let's take like two, three questions. Let's no lists. Please don't click a list.
No. Well, this is not really
What's your list. Chelsea all-time 11?
Top 5 this season. It's probably changed, man.
Man.
With this Van Dijk injury.
Van Dijk, yeah. He puts the cat amongst the pigeons, so to speak.
You see, I am leaning towards Man City first, Liverpool second, I, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112, 113, 114, 115, 116, 117, 118, 119, 120, Chelsea are moving wild, bro. Was it?
Don't kill me. He said calling it the CCP is like calling it the SS or the KK.
What did I tell you? What did I tell you? I said TCCP. I said TCCP.
Listen, the Chinese Communist Party, we'll just have to get over it, man. We're coming for the name. It's okay. We can just call it CC. You know, carbon copy, you know, emails. We're not coming for communism, you know. Shout out to all the socialists out there, you know. Power to the people.
No. I mean, for me, third and fourth is I have no idea. See, that is one thing I have no idea with, because between Arsenal, Tottenham, Chelsea, United, I have no idea who's going third and fourth. And are we now going to say Everton are in the mix? I wouldn't say so.
Or Villa in the mix? I wouldn't say so.
No.
Ross Barkley, by the way. We will get into that on the Chelsea podcast. We'll get into that on the Chelsea podcast.
So what do you say in top 5 this season?
I picked City to win the league, so I'm feeling good about that now. I went City, Liverpool, Chelsea, United.
Tottenham or Arsenal?
I would probably go Chelsea. No, not Chelsea first. I'd probably go City, Liverpool, United, Arsenal, Chelsea.
Okay. Sack Lamppost and get Allegri. What do you think?
It would fit with the tradition of Italian managers that Chelsea have had in the past. I want to know what Allegri and Pochettino have been up to, though. What have you? Pochettino got sacked a year ago. Allegri hasn't been in the job for a year and some change. Like, what are they doing? Are they taking spin class? Are they doing yoga? Like, what are they up to? Find a job.
What happened to Kelechi Iheanacho? He was one of the best 16 years old I've seen in 2013. Now he's a fat fufu merchant. It's very simple. There was a clear opportunity and there was a window. And these decisions in life can make or break you. There was a opportunity for Kelechi to go to the Bundesliga. I think it was Hoffenheim or something like that. And that is the best league to go to develop as a young player. The fact that he remained at Man City, wasn't really picked and taken to Leicester City, totally ruined his development. And now, you know, Osimhen has now pretty much overtaken him as now really the real Nigerian star. Shout out to Osimhen, boom, putting up the NSAS T-shirts during their win against Atalanta. So yeah, he made a bad decision. And because it's bad because remember Agahoa, like Nigerian striker from way back when. He was supposed to be the next big thing, flopped. Kelechi, under 17 World Cup winner. So you just hope that for Osimhen, like, this is hopefully the right club for him. But yeah, he messed up. Like, he should have gone to Germany and he would have been able to develop into a much better player, but he messed up, man. Thank you for super chat, Mr. Whimsical Thought. Thank you. And this is to Daniel.
Do I get this money or?
There you go. this pen. Yeah, I'll give you two kobo. I'll scream up that. Who's your all-time favorite Chelsea player? Congrats on 200th episode. And yes, all hail Mourinho. Haters believe it. We need a Mourinho in football.
Oh,
so all-time favorite Chelsea
player. When I was a teenager, maybe like 11, 12, my first favorite Chelsea player was Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank, followed by
that guy was black, man.
Celestine Babayero. Basically,
Niger boy.
Then it quickly transitioned into Didier Drogba.
I see a certain pattern here. No John Terry, no
Drogba,
Lampard.
I don't think I've had, like, obviously I rate Michy to an extent. Demba Ba. I have a thing for Chelsea's like black underappreciated strikers. So Demba Ba, I loved him. Eto wasn't second choice, but he was behind Torres for a while. Sturridge, Lukaku, Mishi. Like it's just a thing. Even Tammy Abraham now. So, but my favorite all time is Drogba. But my first love in that sense would have been JFH. So
No. I loved Hasselbank, man. And also, bro, do you see his thighs?
I thought you were gonna say, did you see his daughter?
Oh no.
You haven't seen that tweet that's going around? Like Mane sent it to me. I was like, who is this? I was like, oh. But yeah, huge thighs from Jimmy Floyd.
Oh no. Actually, I think I probably
Like
missed
his shot power, I think is the craziest I think I've ever seen.
I think I missed this super chat from Nata where it says so this is basically Gatlock, that loser who had receipts on me, where he pulled up a Talking Tactics old episode where I apparently said Mourinho is a prick.
Do you know what? He probably went to the episodes that are titled Mourinho something something. Yeah.
But then that's just deep, man. Come on, man. So
yeah, are we done?
I'm
done. Are you done?
Okay, let's just take one more.
Okay.
So, guys, send one really good question. A really good footballing question. Something that really make our footballing brains really vibe through. Send a really good footballing question. Are you looking forward to this Chelsea Sevilla game? What are your hopes? Are you hopeful? Are you confident?
I haven't watched enough Sevilla this season to have a real expectation. I mean, I understand Lopetegui's a good manager, but I watched their Europa League exploits last season, but I haven't watched them this season to know. So Banega's gone, so that's a plus, I guess. But I don't know. I don't know. I'm too ignorant on it.
There's still
if Caballero starts, just go ahead and give them the L. So
I think this is a really good one to end on. Financial parity in football, will it ever happen?
No,
never. Because
why on earth would somebody like Real Madrid or Barcelona or Manchester City or Chelsea or United or PSG or Bayern Munich ever accept a system where their financial power and their branding power would be reduced in favor of teams that presently don't compete with them to compete with them? I don't think they'd ever have that much power. And we have to remember that all of these clubs are independent contractors in a sense. So Barcelona and Real Madrid don't have to play in La Liga if they don't want to. They just choose to. Chelsea and Arsenal and Liverpool, they don't have to play. They don't have to play in the Premier League. They choose to. So if rules come into place where they have to then kind of give up rights and privileges that they've enjoyed, I think they would leave and start their own thing.
Super League. For me, and see, this is why I say club football. I watch it because it's football, but I don't have the same kind of love for it as I do, let's say, the Champions League, the Euros, because in the Champions League, hey, everyone's rich. By the time we get to the knockout stage, everyone's rich here. Okay, so everyone is money. And internationals, hey, this is who you have for your country. It is what it is, and you just have to pick and use whoever you have for your country. Club football, it's literally a money thing. And you were even having a situation where Liverpool and United were trying to pretty much create a situation where they now control the rulings of the league. Football is too big. It makes too much money. It's too much of a popular product for the powers that be to now say, hey, let's all make things equal. Heck no. Because winning is big business. Winning improves your business. And remember, businessmen are the most ruthless people in the world. Businessmen are not here to play fair. They're not here to keep things at an equal footing. And with each year that football gets bigger, and bigger, you're going to have people try to cordon off the status quo. And I cannot imagine in the next 10 or 15 years, if football continues to become more popular, that you don't have a Super League, with the big team say, you know what, F this. We can make so much more if we create our own ecosystem ourselves. So, and the unfortunate thing is that as I always say this, that if there was financial parity and it was equal footing, you have a better Champions League. Champions League is still great, but imagine a Champions League if Ajax kept their players, Dortmund kept their players, Monaco kept their players, Shakhtar Donetsk kept all their Brazilians. Then you'd have far more competitive games.
Do you know, like, when they make the teams of like Schalke and they'll put in like Neuer would be in goal and this would be in goal, or they make the Saint Etienne team where I don't know, Aubameyang would be the striker and Zuma would be center, but like all the teams of the clubs that have to sell, those are fun. But yeah, it is what it is, man. Like, those big clubs aren't gonna give up power, so financial parity won't happen. But I think Have Hope's right. Like, it would make, like, the Champions League has parity once you get to like maybe the last 8 or the last 4. But it'd be better to have like the last 16 be more like a random thing. But in that, it's always nice just to have like the best of the best. So parity is good in some ways where like everybody has a chance. But do you want everybody to have a chance? Like, is it more fun if, I don't know, Norwich have the same chance to win the Premier League as Manchester United? I don't know. If you're wedded to the idea that Manchester United is like the powerhouse club and they need to be good, and Norwich is some scrub team, then having them equal is kind of, it's strange in a sense.
Actually, wait, let's round up this. Look, I think this is a nice one, man. I've been watching you guys since the first episode.
Hey.
And truly, you've been a major source of my happiness and mental sanity.
Hey,
thank you, Have Hope and Daniel Tillock.
Thank you. We've been, I was doing quick math here, and that is how many months we've been doing this thing. 52. So I do it 16, 17, 18, 19, 20.
Yeah, I don't understand that stuff. I was a mathematical brick.
Okay, so that X16
is
June 16, and then June 17, 18, 19, 20. So that's the 48 months plus 5 months is 52 to 53 months that we've been doing this thing every week. So you guys can do the math on that. It's more than 200 episodes, but this is the official 200. So like I said at the beginning, man, anybody who's been rocking with us and has been with us, we really appreciate it. It's a labor of love in that sense. We don't make that much money from it. But we do it because people like it, and we have shit to say. So this is a place to say it
and express ourselves.
Yeah. So again, if you want to help us out, if you want to do something for our 200th episode, subscribe. Whether you're on YouTube, if you're a Twitter user, follow us over there. If you're paid, if your mom is a millionaire and your dad owns a bank, remember to subscribe or become a Patreon. That would really help us out a lot and allow us to do some things that we'd like to do. No, Darian, there's no champagne. Have Hope has his bottle of Jack Daniels that he's had for 5 years. But
let me take a drink, man. I'll take a drink for 200 episodes, man.
Let me kill my liver in celebration of a number.
Here's the 200, man.
He drank a bottle cap. Yeah, are you warm inside?
HH, make an OnlyFans. No.
But yeah, everybody, thank you.
Peace out. No, guys, thank you. No, trust me, thank you, guys. But remember, subscribe onto the Talking Tactics YouTube page, and try and become a patron and just help supporting us and so forth. But yeah, man, here's to some exciting new things for the next 100, man. But yeah, peace out.
Yeah. Whoa, wait. We have to do the actual podcast outro, bro.
Oh yeah.
See, this is why, because you make YouTube shows. So yeah, remember to subscribe on Twitter, Instagram, Talking Tactics. If you're on Spotify, give us a follow. If you're on Apple Podcasts, subscribe. It's free. Leave us a 5-star review, and we will read it on the show. Like I mentioned, help us out on Patreon. And Have Hope, follow him at havehopefootballhut.com or Have Hope Hut on Twitter. I'm at Daniel Tillock. So yeah, 200 episodes in the book. We'll see you for 201 next week. Talking Tactics podcast, sometimes funny, sometimes serious.
Always football.
Indeed. Peace.
Peace.
Or is it like this?